My Lords, I thank the noble lady Baroness Annerly of St John for securing this debate, which is extremely timely. As many noble lords have noted, the attempt for a UK-India free trade agreement started in January 2022 and has indeed just restarted last month. Now, I'm concerned chiefly with one issue of transparency. The government has apparently inherited the negotiating objectives from its predecessor government, but it's given no indications that it plans to seek any alteration or to reopen any concluded chapters. Now, I hope this is a different government to the Johnson government, so you might expect a different approach. One of my chief areas of concern is the issue of ISDS, Investor-State Dispute Settlement, and the position of both this government and its predecessor to ISDS has often been ambiguous. It was exempted from the UK's first from-scratch post-Brexit free trade agreements with Australia and New Zealand, but in other contexts, ministers have publicly defended the continued use of ISDS. In December 2023, the then Investment Minister, Lord Johnson of Lainston, was asked during a session of the International Agreements Committee whether the UK would be pressing for ISDS in the India negotiations, to which he responded he didn't know. This government has yet to set out its position, and my chief question to the noble Lord the Minister today is what is the government's stance on ISDS in the India deal and indeed with Southeast Asian deals? So why am I so concerned about ISDS? Well, coincidentally, The Guardian is running a large series of articles that set this out very clearly. One of those highlights the case of Greenland, where the world's largest financial litigation company, Burford Capital, is backing a case against Greenland, population less than 60,000. They are demanding that despite the population democratically agreeing that they did not want uranium mining on Greenland, either uranium mining is agreed or £11.5 billion is paid to the company that was going to mine it, and of course this litigation funder. Now, litigation finance used to be sort of focused on claims about car accidents and similar, but The Guardian is highlighting that there's been more than 1,400 cases launched against governments, and they've become far more common and far more lucrative. Far more than £120 billion of public money was awarded to firms through ISDS courts, including at least $84 billion to fossil fuel companies and $7.8 billion to mining companies. These have become an increasingly popular investment class for hedge funds and other investors. So we have the democratic decisions of governments for which the peoples are being forced to pay by what is essentially financial gamblers. So I think it's obvious why we should not have ISDS in the India trade agreement. Very briefly, a couple of other points to raise about the labour and environmental chapters in the India deal. A leak in September 2023 reported that trade negotiations had already led to the conclusion of the climate and labour chapters. That will not include legally enforceable commitments on labour rights or environmental standards. Can the noble Lord the Minister say if the government is truly happy and is proceeding on that basis of no legal commitments? And finally, I have to note the lack of democracy, the situation we are in now, compared to when we were a member of the European Union. All of this is incredibly opaque and non-transparent. And surely the government wants to turn over a new leaf and start doing this in a democratic and open way when we're talking about free trade deals.